everyone. Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you, and to those who haven't yet, I really hope you do. Just completed my 38th year coaching football. I was a defensive coordinator, but over that time, I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach. I've coached every position on defense, offense, and I've done all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. What I'd like to talk to you about in this presentation today is one of our outside linebacker plugs, okay, that we call Rodeo or Lasso, and it's a single B-gap same side blitz. And you'll see how the rule stays consistent from the inside linebacker single same side B-gap plug, okay? So for non-subscribers, if you subscribe, you get to see all these playlists. It doesn't cost a thing, okay? So the key terms here today. B-gap same side blitz equals that we're reading the guard, okay? That's going to be a near edge read, as you'll see, all right? The Lucky Ringo calling Rodeo, R goes to the rover. Now, I'm trying to keep the theme the same, so I didn't have anything in that theme that really went with dime, begins with the letter D, but lasso is a big part of a rodeo, so lasso is the equivalent for dime. Okay, that's the theme. Rodeo lasso because it's a B gap like a bucking bronco. Hence, that's where that theme comes from for naming purposes. Okay, I'm going to get into the stance key. How we don't tweak, but I don't want to. It's not that we mess with the stance. We certainly don't change it, but how we take the stance that they have and we use it to their advantage. So you're going to have two different types of stances. You're going to have an attached, meaning he's on a tight end, and a detached stance. Okay, so again, non-subscribers, if you subscribe, which costs you nothing, you get to see the playlist on my base defense and why they have different stances, okay? You get a little bit lucky today because I need to bring that in. So how the stance is key, how it helps them out, okay? And then the footwork for them is what we call lateral crossover. Lateral crossover, okay? Especially when they're attached. This is necessary footwork for timing purposes, all right? And absolutely positively, there is no readout when it's an outside linebacker plug-in. Okay? No readout. And I'll explain the reason why there's no readout once I illustrate the blitz for you. And I'm pretty sure you'll figure it out anyway. But nonetheless, I'll bring it to your attention why there is no readout. Okay? We're still going to read the near edge, but there's no readout. All right? So what I have up top is the Rodeo, 50 Rodeo. So this is our base 3-4 front that we teach first, period, and then we teach any and all pressures, line stunts, you name it, out of this first. And so to answer the question, can you run it out of multiple fronts? Absolutely, but teach it out of whatever your base is first before you start trying to install it with all kinds of fronts. If you try and install it, let's say on day one, and you try and install it out of 4 fronts, good luck. Okay, I just don't think that's a good idea. So what we do is we install everything out of our base 3-4 front that we call 50, and then as we start to use it in other fronts, we just say, hey, man, different starting point, same ending point. And they get that. Because in some fronts, they're literally in a different place, but they end up in the same place. So that's how I would approach it if I were you. It's worked for us. It's certainly not the only way to do it, but it's what we do, and I found that it helps out. That's all. And on the bottom is the complementary lasso, which is the dimes version of the same blitz. So on spring or preseason install, we teach these both in the same day because it's the same blitz. Okay, and that's all. And the trio, again, non-subscribers, you'll have to subscribe. So you go to the zone blitz coverage playlist to learn more about it, because I am not talking about trio coverage today. Okay? All right, so without further ado, I am going to illustrate the defensive part of this pressure blitz in green. Okay, and in so doing, I'm going to bring in the near edge. I'm going to bring in the stance. When I say stance key, I mean how it's key to helping them execute the footwork, which is lateral crossover. That's what I mean by stance key. I'm not talking about the offensive line and nothing. How the stance that we teach and have our players execute, how it's key to their success and their footwork. Okay, so put it in the proper context. That's what I mean right now about the stance key. Okay? All right, so up here, Rodeo, right? Lucky Ringo. Rodeo. Rover's left, so it's a lucky call, which is huge because the defensive line knows, whoop, they're going left. So the defensive end and the call side, slant and C gap. Nose going left, slant and A gap. Okay? So now he goes first. Here it is, second. Normally, when they attach, so this is the attached outside linebacker, which means versus tight end. Okay, this is big. We normally have the attached put his feet roughly, his heels, I should say, roughly on the toes of the defensive end, right, whose feet are back here. He's in a three-point stance. So now when he gets in his stance and his hands are up, he's onside. Okay, he doesn't put his feet on the down hand because the down hand, if he does that, he's going to be offside for sure. Okay, so what we say is if you put your heel, when you get in the stance, if your hands, when you put them up, are about where the down hand is of the defensive end, you're good. Okay? On an attached, toes are even. So what we tell, this is why I moved the word back. We have them back up slightly. So his toes are even with the defensive end's toes. He backs up. I have yet to come across a tight end who's picked up on that. So that's it. The slight, your toes are even with his toes. So if that's his toe, that's his toe. He backed up slightly. Okay, maybe a foot, but that's all it takes because now, okay, second means he is stepping on his heels, going butt side, copping a feel, we say, right? Cop a feel or step on his heels. And you can see right there, boy, do I get bad handwriting, right? Boom, boom. There it is. So now that brings in the footwork. So the stance from why it's so important. With the toes even, the weight is evenly balanced. He's going to be under control as he lateral steps with his inside foot and now crosses over to the near edge of the guard. Hence, lateral crossover. It's very easy to execute. Boom, boom. Well, I know you can't see my feet, but I know that football coaches, you can visualize this. Because the stance is balanced, weight evenly distributed, toes even, and now he's back. So his toes are even with the toes of his defensive end. The defensive end's going forward. So now when he steps lateral, he's literally going to be replacing his feet that just left. And when he crosses over, he's going to be copping a feel off his butt. It's timing. No collision. Okay, no collision. So now let me put the near shoulder, okay, in red. Shoulder to him, peel and penetrate. That's a common theme. Again, non-subscribers, please do. You'll pick all this up. Shoulder away. Now I'm going to do it in the same bend, right? Because you're on the back side. If he were to pull to you, peel and penetrate. Same thing. He pulls away, bend. So see, he's first level. They don't ever read out. So even though he's detached, he can be first level. So we do not have him. And now you'll see the angle as well. See this angle? There's no way you can read out anyway. So even though you're detached, quasi second level, when I get into that in a second down here, there is no readout. Okay? But that's how it plays out up there. It is that simple. Okay? So now let me show you how the alignment here and his stance is key to his being able to lateral crossover without hedging. We do not hedge. Okay? So now we got the same situation going, right? Except here it is. It's Lasso, so now it's the dime. He's right. He says Ringo. So that tells the end on the side of the call. Slant C gap tells the nose. Slant A gap right. Okay, so he doesn't have to move himself back. When he's detached, his inside toe is on the heels of the defensive end already. So he doesn't have to adjust the damn thing. Okay? His stance is staggered similar to the inside linebackers. So his inside toe is up on the heel of his defensive end. Toe to instep, slight stagger. Weight evenly distributed again. Okay? It's that weight distribution which makes their stance key to success. Maybe I should add that. Stance key to success, right? Because that's how we view it. We don't change this. You don't want to do these things. It's more for them to think about. Remember, to play fast with the feet, they're going to play fast up here, and that's up to us as coaches. So our rule of thumb, I'll help you with this, non-subscribers. Well, number 2 is detached, because now we're talking about a detached outside linebacker versus the attached. Detached is 2's removed, right? And he is removed. We mean the number 2 receiver. So he gets a maximum of 5 yards, and then he stops. That's our base way of handling it. Again, please subscribe. So now from here, okay, there's no hesitation on the snap of the football. Lateral, crossover into the B gap. It's the same footwork. Even though the outside foot staggered, he's stepping laterally with the inside foot. Bang, a slight point of the toe. Same for the rover and attached. Crossover, looking at that near edge right now. And yes, we do it from 5 yards away. We never hedge because all the alarms go off because they're taught blitz alerts when you start moving. He alerts the quarterback, and whoop, the whole thing's shot. We don't want to do that. So if our kid can't execute it from there, we got to find a different player, or we just can't run the blitz. Okay, this is normally a defensive back for us, a 5th defensive back. They got the speed, they can get there. Okay, so that's another factor you got to figure out on your own, your personnel. Do the kids fit it, right? But you might as well learn the scheme and the coaching points, because when you do have the players, boom, right, you can execute it. So then everything stays the same. Edge is coming to you, peel and penetrate. Edge is going away, bend. If he pulls, peel and try to penetrate. If he pulls, bend. Everything stays consistent because there is no readout. Okay, for outside linebackers. So that's for the detached, that's for the attached. And the dime learns the same toes even stance. We call it 8 technique versus the tight end. He learns the same detached stance versus 10 personnel. He's detached also versus 4 wide. Okay, so we teach the kids everything the same. They learn attached and detached. Okay, pretty simple. Got to back up slightly, toes even. When you detach, you're all set. Okay, so when would you use this? We love to utilize it off the split end side with a dime. because it's great to attack protections. It's great to attack simple zone schemes, zone read. It's a whole different look. It's a whole different read. That's a give read. And now all of a sudden, here comes the blitzing linebacker, outside linebacker through the B gap, collapse and tackle in the dive back from the B gap backside, right? Tough. Same thing over here. I've actually utilized this to stop the ISO play versus two back. Now that brings a guy, they're trying to isolate your inside linebacker, and all of a sudden he shows up. Oh, yeah, it was effective, right? Especially you get the down block, open window read there, it works. Okay, so it's like most things. You can't call it, a zillion times, or offenses have a remedy for it. But if you do your film study and you see your tendencies, your opponents, what they like to do, do you match up well? Do you have snap keys you can teach your plays? You give them a bit slight advantage. All those little things add up. So as I said at the beginning, right, I thank my subscribers, and I hope I made the point. If you haven't, I really hope you do. It just puts it all together. Doesn't cost a thing, right? To everybody, I hope that you email me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com. Any questions at all, I just would love to talk football with you. And when it's an outside linebacker, single B gap, same side blitz, there is no readout, and there never will be, because they're on the first level to us. Even detached, that's like first level read. Okay? All right. Love it. Hope you have a great day.